everyone. Mike Arnold is still, even when I redid it, I'm still disappeared. Where am I now? There I am. Oh boy. Time to reach out to some more support options. Hope everyone is doing great. Holding on to 900 for dear life. It is doing that. By the way, welcome to the Tesla live stream. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and ringing the bell so when you'll know when we go live. Okay, down day. We're going down, down, down. Just getting into that oversold condition on the daily basis. Starting to watch for a potential bounce. Also, keeping the bigger picture in mind from the lows back on the 19th of May that started this move up. By the way, this move from the 5th of March didn't really start it. This move did. Up to the highs back on the 4th of November. That seems like so long ago now. We've actually retraced 50% of that move. The 50% line was right here, 895.03. So 50%, and that's just barely holding. There was just not a lot to do today. Not a lot to do, at least from my perspective. It was actually just try to avoid doing something stupid. What we always do, put on the retracements. And you see here, watching for a close, not a spike, but a close, at least on the 5-minute chart, above the 62.5% retracement from Friday's close down to the lows. Did not get it. So, and you see here, returning to 5-minute rotation zone, rotating down, finally getting the divergence in there, and you start getting some bottoming price action in the S&P, moving that down. Your now line in the sand is 917 tomorrow. 917 tomorrow is key for me because then I'll start watching for this gap fill. So that's the first thing to remember. Bullish area, I'm going to start watching around 915 to start getting into more bullish mode, but then 917 is definitely where I'm watching for a closing basis for that gap fill. And the gap fill, remember, takes it back to 931. 4-hour basis. Let me pull these off so we can see something here. There is a super aggressive trade on a closing basis above this last 4 hours high of 905.59. Super aggressive trade because you're still against the daily rotation zone, the 4-hour rotation zone. So you're definitely going to have to ratchet that up, and even the 1-hour rotation zone. Now the 1-hour rotation zone might get out of the way tomorrow just for that key close. But if you want the more conservative entry, it would have to get a close above the bar from the first bar today that started at 8:30, the bar of 921.69. But again, keep in mind, this is where it gets tricky because even on a closing basis, you really have to even ratchet up your stop right at this resistance shelf or support shelf becoming resistance and the declining 4-hour rotation zone. And that 4-hour rotation zone right now is 930. The daily rotation zone is at 957. So you really have to get aggressive with moving up your stops should you be trying to call a bottom here. That's my little key bit of advice. Let's just see here. I'm going to update these levels now since we did get a pausing bar. If we break below 893 tomorrow, 880 to about 877 is the first area key support. Below that, you have 868, and then my major support is still down around this 846 area. That is the key support should we get lower price action. We also have a lot of doubles. We have one triggered in the S&P and one triggered in the NASDAQ. So if those continue and we get a bounce tomorrow in the indices, if you want to know my thoughts on that, watch my live stream replay from earlier today. Then we'll have to see if Tesla can get a move on to the upside. Yeah, Tesla lost all gains from 35% rally stoked by the Hertz EV deal. Yeah, we've gone that vertical up, vertical down. It just took a bit of time. When it ramped up vertical and then it chopped around, but it's back to where it started once that Hertz deal was announced. But it already started breaking out right before that with the last earnings on October 20th. But we're almost back down. If we get to this big cluster area, you're actually below, and I'm not saying this just for tomorrow, you're actually below where we were when the last earnings went out. Rallies, really, my key advice, since you are uh, technically now in neutral mode on the weekly, even though this week's not closed, daily's in bearish mode, 4 hours in bearish mode, and 1 hour's in bearish mode. So you got to pay attention to the rallies into these rotation zones. Don't just take everything for granted, like, oh, I'm going to buy here, whether on an aggressive entry, and I'm going to try to hold it for 1200. You have too much price action to chop through here, and even on the other side of the daily, the bottom of the rotation zones at 957 area, the top of the rotation zones back at 1,000. So yeah, you could easily have this thing rotate back up to $1,000 to this prior support all in here. Major support comes major resistance. And why is that key? Because everybody who bought this, who was just hoping, it gets back up there. Oh man, maybe I could get out of some of this position that I was down really big in, and now it was giving me a chance to maybe get out of it at a little profit or break even. I want out. So that's why major support becomes major resistance. So you could even see that rally back to 1,000 and then roll over again. Remember, we triggered that big, huge weekly double top pattern, but that doesn't mean it's going to get to these targets without rotations. That doesn't mean you won't have rallies in between here. It just means overall, when we get to these key resistance areas, we watch for the potential rollovers. So definitely manage your stops. And if you're trying to grab a short-term bottom at the key levels, move some up, and then at really key levels, take stuff off, because you get a little rotation back down and there's another buy signal, you can always add back into it. Let's see the other levels to the upside. So we have that 905 level I missed, and then it's going to be, if we get above that 917, it's the gap fill. The full gap fill, my target would be that 931.16. So do not ignore 931.16, because that's also this support becoming resistance area. So even up above till 936, you have all this major support is resistance. You get above there, I just have to go back to around this 950 areas that we had trouble getting through at the end of last week. 950, then above there, I'm watching right around 970. So, but we'd need some overall broad market support to get up that high tomorrow. The first thing you should be watching really is for that gap fill. That's your first bullish play for tomorrow. I don't have much else to talk about, really. I don't have much else to talk about. That's just it. It was a nothing. I mean, there's no pattern here. There was a potential double for a while, but this pretty much invalidated everything. And even with these rallies, what the only negative to me is, you had rallies in the S&P and Nasdaq. At the end of the day, you had pretty substantial rallies. And what did Tesla do? Nothing. That's why it's still got to prove itself. That's why I wouldn't just go aggressively buying without, at least that key close above that 905, but it'd be better on a key close above 921, because it hasn't done anything yet. Let's see, where are the NASDAQ right now, see, and here's that double. You see the NASDAQ, there's that double. You see this rally all afternoon, right? You see the S&P, there's the double. Rally all afternoon, go back to Tesla, flat as a pancake. Flat as a pancake. So we have divergence between the strength in the S&P and NASDAQ versus nada in Tesla. So keep that in mind, which is why definitely be aware of these rotation zones. Go through your time frames tomorrow, and even on the rallies, don't take the rally for granted. Lock in some profits, or at least move up a trailing stop. So if it rolls back over, then you're not giving it all back. Can't get that Tesla volatility every day. I was actually surprised though at the end of the day that we didn't get any run from the bullish side. How narrow was today's range too? That's a tiny range. What was the low to high today? 893. Let's just go to 921. So that's what's that? 20, almost 29 points. 29 points is a really small day for Tesla. How was the and a lower volume day, but we'll have to see what happens. Keep an eye on the volume to see if we get a pickup tomorrow. Also, we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of been speculation that's been running around that Elon, with his I will pay 11 million in 11 billion in taxes this year. People were signaling that means his selling's done. Again, we don't know. Unless he specifically came out and said, look, my selling's done, my plan's over, or I canceled it and I'm putting a new one into place, or it just expired, you won't know. It could happen, so always keep in mind for those momentum bars. Sterling, what you said, I was calling the end of the day run all day, got nothing. Yeah, it was nothing. And that's the biggest bearish thing right now for Tesla, that it couldn't, even with the market starting to run and recoup their losses in the afternoon today, you didn't get a blip out of Tesla. So that's the concern from the bullish case of Tesla. So just be aware of that there's still a lot of bearish pressure in there. And if Elon still is selling, watch those momentum bars, especially this week. If there was selling this week, I bet it would have to take place tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. You were not doing anything Thursday, and the markets are closed on Friday. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not seeing anything else in here. Hope everyone had a great day. I will see everyone in Discord tomorrow. Bye for now.